Alright, we have a pretty small update this week, although I do think April is a small update month in general. So here we got Urusei Yatsura, which I'm trying to remember if I had gotten this or not. This is the new 2020. This one doesn't have any on. It's the new one with Seasons 1 and 2 collection. Released this Sentai. So it's possible. I'm trying to remember. I had thought, oh yes I did, but I don't. I wonder if that was a dream or not. Well, this is the only thing that's arrived this week, so we're going to at least take a peek at it. And what can we say about the back? We have an English dub, Region A, 23 episodes on 4 discs. One, two, three, 4. They don't look familiar. This is the strangest looking one. But it doesn't jump out to me, so it wouldn't be the same disc, I guess. So it's hard for me to remember, but I guess, well, yeah. This is this week's Physical Anime Collection update, and if y'all notice the marking on the hand, that's just a henna tattoo. Maybe I'll switch the video over and talk about that a bit. Okay, so, let's see, I guess, I didn't think I was going to start the video talking about this. I wasn't going to at all. But, I guess my company celebrated Holi. It's a India Festival of Colors. I've celebrated it a lot before, and I've come out of those very pretty rainbow colors. And surprisingly, the hair holds on to a lot of dye really quick. But, you know, this time, you know, they were doing something weird. They've done henna tattoos there. There's a lot of India people that work at my company, so a lot of big India festivals or celebrations do get celebrated in some fashion. And Holi was just, you know, it's a festival of colors, so it's an excuse to do colorful things, wear colorful clothes, but to also throw colorful dye at people. And this is a little weird because this is actually a dye that's basically, I guess it's an herb called henna or something like that. Not to be confused with Henya the Genius. And I guess it just stains and it's supposed to last, they said 3 to 4 days. Might be a little bit longer. There's definitely some fading going on closer to the extremities, but the core here is definitely a little there. But it's weird because, you know, they were suggesting, you know, for the image to last a little bit longer, you know, it's ideal if you don't wash it for a good period of time. I thought somebody said 24 hours. Somebody else said 12 hours. No, 4 hours might be enough. But the thing is, when you're throwing colored dye at people, that you kind of want to wash yourself after you're done with festivities. So, you know, this is an hour or 2 of soaking. But, you know, it's whatever. It's neat. I think it's also something that usually the women do, but I don't know. It was just kind of a neat thing to try. I'd seen them do it before. I've never tried it myself, and it was interesting just watching them draw and, you know, just kind of having neat marks on the hand for a little bit. You know, I'm not a big tattoo person myself. You might notice I kind of don't have much in the way of tattoos, but, you know, for something temporary, it's fine. But, you know, that's that. It was a lot of fun. Good food, good company. We lucked out and it wasn't raining, you know. And now we're here today. Yeah, I'm lazy. I'm not even going to post pictures of the event because then I have to do all this shuffling of data between devices. Let's instead talk about the anime I've watched, which is probably what y'all are more interested in. Jujutsu Kaisen, Season 1, Episodes 16 through 20. Which, again, you know, there's neat stuff that happened in here. But, again, I get back to that feeling where as neat as some of the stuff is, it does feel like it's a little distracting, even though it's like, oh, well, that's stuff that's kind of mainly relevant to the stuff our main character is doing. But I guess part of the problem is it feels like I guess it feels like the show, the two problems with the show, at least with this first season, are the feeling of, I guess it's getting a little, oh, it's just shonen and now here's all these other interesting characters and it feels a little distracting. But at the same time, even though our main character is built up a bit, it almost feels like it didn't give enough breathing time from previous building up, which is something I guess I kind of maybe vaguely remember from last time I watched it, but remember this time where it's just like, it's cool stuff, it's cool advancement, but at the same time, I don't know, it's not bad, it's just tiny little things that make me sad. And, you know, it's kind of silly because I watch all these other shows where it's like, I just watched, you know, 12 episodes of 'Tis Time for Torture Princess. It's like, yeah, what kind of story development did we have there? Not really much of one. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it just feels like sometimes it tickles that, oh, is this a little pandery sort of thing? Which, you know, sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, I really don't like the way this harem anime is set up because it just feels too pandery and too convenient and something like that. And I think while Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't trigger that, it does feel like it tickles it ever so slightly with, yeah, look at all these cool characters. I'm like, I want to see a cool main character, and y'all have a really, really cool main character. I want to see more of him. But I don't know. It's weird. I'm pretty sure that once we finish Season 1, we'll be able to go on to Season 2 with no problem. Of course, there will be a big problem with starting Season 2, and that's around the time we finish this, probably my friend goes on a trip for a couple of weeks, and then all the April stuff is here out and about. Some dubbed episodes start coming of stuff that he probably wants to watch, and, you know, that might slow down watching of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to the next season of stuff and just seeing what it brings. I'm not looking forward to how it's spread because, you know, I record these videos Monday nights. I only had 2 episodes to watch tonight, and in my, you know, constantly exhausted state on the night when I have to record this and process and all that, it feels like sometimes even those 2 episodes are like too much. I'd like to just record this video, fall asleep in the bathtub, and blah 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 blah. But, you know, I don't know, we'll have to see. But as we go down the list, I think there's a lot of stuff here that's finishing or finished. Villainous Level 99 is not finished. I watched episode 11 of that, and let's see what all happened in it. Entertaining stuff. Do I have anything to comment on? I feel like this will be a 12 episode, so the next episode will probably be the final episode probably of this season, which makes a lot of sense because if it aired the week after, then it would start stepping on the toes of the next season of stuff. I could see them choosing not to do that. I wonder if some people were saying that maybe it's slightly rushed, some material, not like a rushed too fast, but definitely going through some stuff fast. And if so, it might be trying to get to a specific place to end this season at, and if it does, that would be pretty okay. I'd be surprised if it was a series finale, but who knows? Maybe it could be, maybe it will be. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to it. Gushing Over Magical Girls, episode 12. Well, I don't feel like this show's working on finishing the next episode. I do believe it says there's 13 episodes. But I can say that episode 12 here, I kind of appreciated it a little bit. I really liked the way our main character just kind of acted through it. You know, it's a little bit more laid back in certain regards. But I also have to say that for the things it did do with Neuro Alice, I actually enjoyed. Because, don't get me wrong, I don't hate her as a character, but I do feel like she tends to be a bit of a distraction in the show's... I don't know. It almost feels like the show threw her in. It's like, yeah, she's kind of cute. It's like, yeah, she feels like a distraction. But it felt like this time, the stuff she did as a supportive background character kind of were just pretty great. Just the little things she was doing in the background, the little things she did to kind of make events happen in this episode, I thought it was highly fun and appreciative. I kind of found it to just be nice. So I guess I'm curious what the last episode will be like. Yeah, but I guess I can only be curious. Classroom of the Elite, Season 3, Episode 12, which surprised me because I think I definitely read that this is episode 13, but this definitely had an end of season credits, so it must be planning to do some sort of one-off episode 13 or something like that. Or it finished and there's not going to be another episode and they finished early somehow. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not entirely sure what I think about all the stuff. You know, there were neat things that happened. I think other people talked about really liking the stuff that happened in this season, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I guess maybe because I've watched season 1, season 2 in bulk, season 3 felt different. Maybe not worse different, but I guess not season 1 and 2 the same, I guess? I'm not sure. Kind of weird. Dr. Elise, the Royal Lady with the Lamp, episode 11. Surprisingly, episode 11 I thought did a really great job of starting to set up either season finale or it feels like it could actually be a series finale. Like they might wrap stuff up pretty well. They might not, but I thought it was good because I was kind of worried about, okay, well, the only thing they've set up so far is going to be this big thing, which could be a season or a series finale, but at the same time, does it feel crescendo-y the right way getting up to it? But then they put some twists here in episode 11. I'm like, okay, I kind of feel like it's all going to come together. So, you know, with its oddities, I'm hoping that episode 12 will actually be a good finale to the series. Delicious in Dungeon, episode 12. I think this one is just a core finale. I did think Netflix maybe had episode 13 as coming next week, so hopefully that means they'll be continuing on to the second core, assuming that this is supposed to be cores, but feels like it. Yeah, because it did end it ended with a big thing, a crescendo. So, like, if the last episode was important enough to have them not fucking cook anything, then this one was a good follow-up to that. And overall, I liked everything it did. And the setup is an interesting curiosity. I'm curious to see where it's about to go with it. My Instant Death Ability, episode 12. I guess it was stuff. I think that one was a series finale. Maybe they kind of implied a couple of other things. I don't know. It was a definitely very strange series. If people didn't like it, it'd be hard not to blame them, because the show, it's playing with something that's already pretty dangerous conceptually, which is namely that our main character could be very anticlimactic, and so thus you can't build anything up. And I guess the show maybe tried to make up for that by just being interestingly crazy in a bunch of different ways. And some of the stuff that happened was definitely, oh, that's interesting. But it's also, I don't know that it ever got rid of the feeling of anticlimactic and stuff like that. Like, maybe it had to spend too much time focusing on certain other things where it's just like, how can we be invested when we just know, oh, yeah, there we go, the show did what we expected it to do. It did unexpected things as well and had neat moments in there, but, you know, weird. It was just weird. Sasaki and Peeps, episode 12. I do believe this was supposed to be a season finale, especially on account of the fact that it's definitely not supposed to be the end of the story. They did introduce something at the very end, a stinger, but I feel like it's supposed to be a stinger for next season, because it did have the moment where it's just like, well, you know, this isn't where a season would normally go, but we'll just have our main character reminisce about his adventures or something a little bit. So, in other words, it had some big stuff that maybe it had set up, but it kept resolving them, not really having what I would say felt like a final crescendo. But stinger at the end of the episode is just fine. For anybody that kind of enjoyed its somewhat laxical energy, I suppose, probably a okay enough ending. No, not as long as it's not a final ending. We, I think, want to see more. We want to see where it goes. Unwanted Undead Adventure, episode 12. I guess it was an okay enough episode. Trying to think if it felt like a series finale or not. It might have. Well, not a series finale, but a season finale. Sorry. But it was an entertaining enough episode, I suppose. Maybe not the most exciting, but I don't know. It checked some boxes, but I guess the unfortunate thing is it ends in a place where it's like, okay, well that happened, but we want to see more of our main character. It might be over. Free Rent, Beyond Journey's End, episode 28. So this one was definitely the series finale. If there's any complaint I would have where it ended here, it would be that it's not at the very end. There definitely needs to be more material for this show. And for it to end on this arc is... it's a little bit iffy. It had incredible moments in it. It had things in there where it's like, okay, it does feel like maybe it's a little distracting, but it was overall good. But at the same time, it kind of sort of feels arbitrary. Like, the entire point of this last arc was to, okay, they either need one of them to become a first-class mage so they can enter this area in the north, or they need to hire a first-class mage. They had all this stuff for one of them to become, but because this show just kind of is ending right there and we don't have a next season yet, it's like, okay, but based on what they determined it means to become a first-class mage, how should we interpret the stuff at the end? Because it seems dangerously close to just being a bunch of bullshit. And it wouldn't necessarily be bullshit on the part of the people making the show, maybe bullshit of the people in the world or something like that, but we haven't really gotten to see anything that lets us know, okay, yes, that's the case. It's like, I feel like we need to see a little bit more in order to feel like that last arc, as cool as it was, had any relevance to us. Which is why it would be nice if the show kept going, because it would be fine if we saw that and then got that resolved. But now, you know, I guess we kind of have to scratch our heads a little bit. Oh well. The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, episode 12. I don't remember if this was supposed to be 13 episodes, but episode 12 was a damn fine episode, actually. Like, 11 had a crescendo, and 12 had the follow-up coming down from that. But it hit hard. Harder than I would have expected, because, like, the beginning of the show was okay. The stuff as it went was fine, watchable. Not necessarily bad, but that didn't necessarily get me excited. But if you haven't watched episode 12 yet, if you've only watched episode 11, it's like, oh, that was pretty cool, but I'm not sure about episode 12. I would say give it a fucking watch, because, like, I can't say that everything that happens in the episode was great, but one of the more... I feel like one of the more powerful moments from this season happened. And I mean this anime season, and not like this season of this anime. I would definitely be interested to see where it goes from here. Some people said that it's surprising where it goes from this point, or something like that. So, like, it's not, oh yes, it's a one-trick, one-season pony. It sounds like they were implying that the first season was maybe the least interesting, or something like that. I'm curious. Weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash, episode 11. I think a bunch of good stuff. Again, I think I mentioned before that one of the things that I felt was nice about the show is Ivy traveling from place to place and maybe trying to feel that place where it feels like they'll fit in and they'll be there. But they keep spending longer and longer time at each place, which means basically the next one will be the entire season. They're going to just be at the next place or something like that. Something funny like that. And if that keeps happening, our character becomes more and more relevant, starts feeling like they're not one of those underpowered isekai after all, or reincarnations after all. There's a little bit more to it than that. Feeling-wise, I mean. So, you know, it's a bit of a mix. What was it setting itself to do anything at the end after this? Because this was a bit of a crescendo, I think. And if it's a 12-episode series, then I guess we're about to find out what it's planning to do after all this big stuff has happened. Definitely curious. Let me scroll down a little bit. Solo Leveling, episode 11. It's okay, I guess. Like I said, I kind of liked the previous episode. It didn't have our main character doing a lot of fighting, but it sort of felt like it was doing good world setup. Stuff that's like, okay, I can see how this stuff would be potentially interesting setup for whatever is going to happen next in the world from our main character's perspective. This episode spent some of its time setting up another big thing which may eventually become relevant to our main character, and that might be fine. But I think the real problem with that stuff is because our main character isn't there yet, it feels like a bit of a distraction. But then they're off doing their thing, and they're doing fighting, and it's okay fighting. I think one of the big problems I mentioned with some fighting that I just don't like, that a lot of other people do like, is there's some things that are flashy, but there's no meaning to the flash for me. And I think that's why I stopped watching that one thing about the guy with the avatar with the bird head. Because, you know, okay, yeah, there's kind of flashy stuff going on, but at the end of the day, he's playing a video game, and they're not really making, okay, this is the stuff he's doing relevant to other people, so him just basically being a cool tryhard, I guess. If that's all it boiled down to, it wasn't keeping my attention. So I don't feel like this episode was that bad, because you can feel there were stakes. You can kind of understand it's important for our main character, and kind of cool stuff going on. I guess if there's any problem, though, it's that it just feels like it's kind of arbitrary. It's like you don't understand why the rules are trying to be the way they are. And while that kind of works as a mystery at the beginning, if it just keeps making shit up as it goes, it feels like I don't know if you can care as much. At least I kind of lose some of my steam, and it hasn't lost everything. But at the same time, I guess the show's just kind of playing a sort of game. The story's playing a sort of game that I don't care as much for. Yeah, I think there's probably one more episode. I don't know for certain, but just guessing that they're gonna have the 12 episodes with that one clip show. Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting the name of the thing. That one episode that's just a recap episode. But yeah, anyways, whatever. Strongest Tanks Labyrinth Raids, episode 12. I guess okay stuff. Oh, I think a lot of stuff had been setting up, so it all was okay. I guess I just don't know. The show, it was watchable, but it didn't really wow me watching it. Not as much as Tales of Wedding Rings, which is kind of funny because that one is... I would almost guess that people probably rated them the other way around. That could just be me. But if we're talking about Tales of Wedding Rings, we had episode 12, and the thing that surprised me the most about this is, well, it did seem like it could probably be a good setup for a nice 12-episode story. Maybe even a 13-episode story if they did 12 episodes and then some special later or something like that. But no, instead, even though they ended at a place where it's like, well, they could have been setting up for an ending, and that they were, it was actually setting up for a bad ending, the way the episode started going. Instead, it's like, oh, I guess they're planning to have a season 2. Well, I'm curious, but I guess I'm not too enthralled because it felt like one of the things that made Tales of Wedding Rings potentially good, despite despite those fucking L's, fuck those fucking assholes, and despite, oh wow, this show is now looking for an excuse to show some surprisingly well-drawn boobies again. You know, despite all that, it's like, but it still kind of had a story that took itself seriously and didn't get too distracted. It seemed to be going for a goal, and you know, maybe it could have just had the right kind of ending. If there's any reason it's good that there is maybe another season, it would be that there are little things where it's like, okay, they weren't explaining some of these things too well. We, the audience, probably had a pretty good idea what was going on there, but I would have wanted to, I guess, see more. Have more exploration, and maybe the series could have gone a little deeper than its, oh, here's a nice simple narrative. I just thought it could have gotten away with a, here's its nice simple narrative. Because it felt fine. Let me see. Banished from the Heroes Party, Season 2, Episode 12. I guess, Sorry. Streamer just started words on stream, and I'm trying not to think about that because my brain just went into nerd sniping mode. I was talking about Banished from the Heroes Party. You know, I think it ended pretty well. But at this point, we definitely want a Season 3 because there were some mysteries, big mysteries introduced in Season 2 that seemed to be what the main story was going to be about. But then it didn't resolve that stuff. So maybe that's a bigger overall story. Maybe they had some of that in this first season, I just don't remember, and I'm not going to remember when Season 3 happens. But, you know, overall, with the stuff that you could tell it was leading to for the end of it, I thought it ended fine. Pretty good. Entertaining. Nice enough. 7th Time Loop, Episode 12. Yeah. So the 7-letter word is outcome, but I don't know if they've got that. Yeah, they don't have that. Anyways, 7th Time Loop, I think it was okay. Oh, and now it's just fucking showing it. Okay, now they got it. Huh. It's silly. Anyways, I really should not have the Twitch stream on in the background while I'm recording this, but hopefully you'll find the distraction from me amusing. I think it ended fine for what it was doing, with the biggest problem being that I don't feel like it was leaning into the original source concept strong enough. It's definitely an important part of that. Our main character is showing some of their coolness, I guess, from other stuff they've done, but it also felt like it wasn't as impactful as stuff from the first half. So it felt like it tapered off of it, which was always an understandable risk. When you have a show that has a strong premise like that, it's very easy for it to blow its load too quickly, so to speak. That's actually probably a really dirty way to say it, isn't it? Shit, that's a really dirty way to say it. Sorry about that. If there's any problem with this episode, I'd say they were unfortunate in that they were airing this season, because kind of their big ending was some of the steam got pulled out of it because of another series that's aiming here. And I'm not going to say which series it is. I'm just going to say that, you know, it would be like you have a great comedy act planned, but your opening joke, somebody else told a good enough version 2 acts ago, and now you have to find something else. You know, and of course you can't find something else if you're a series that was based like this. So it's unfortunate, a little funny, but overall it was an okay ending. A little more on the shoujo side than the idea, I guess, but oh well. Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, Season 2, Episode 12. It was an episode. I think the stinger at the end of Episode 11 made me a little more interested in what this would do, but it ended up not doing that. It was just okay. Fortunately, there's more Tsukimichi to come, but while there's interesting information that came out of this, yeah, I don't know, we'll have to see. And then finally, 'Tis Time for Torture Princess, Episode 12. Like I mentioned, you know, I did watch that, and I think this was a bit of a season finale, series finale, one or the other. And I think it had some fun with it. It did new stuff that it hasn't done before, and stuff that's just like, yeah, it's a nice smile to put on your face as, I guess, the anime week ends. Next week, it's going to be fucking hell. Because, you know, like I mentioned, I only had 2 episodes to watch today. Felt like it was exhausting to do that. Next week, April 1st, there's like 6 series starting that I'm like, well, I'm interested in checking out the first episode for pretty much all of those. I guess I'll just have to... I'll figure that out. What may end up happening is there's some anime that I just say, okay, even though this is airing on Monday, I'm only watching certain ones that I'm really interested in, and then other stuff just gets deferred. Because I think the week is really lopsided, so I'll just... I guess I'll just move stuff around like that. And hopefully y'all aren't watching my videos with too much interest in this section, because who knows how much I'll be able to do this both next week and maybe for that stuff. I don't know. Well, I mean, you might be interested in what I watch, but hopefully you're not like, let's keep up on the latest anime with Giga. Don't need that. Can't help but think there was something else to maybe talk about. A little bit blanking. Was it something I watched? Was it something I played? I don't know. I guess I was a little miffed playing Dead by Daylight. In order to get through Tome 4, I have to get through something I don't like, which is either I have to escape through the exit gate as a survivor twice, or I have to kill 24 people, and since I've been defaulting to killing them, I just killed 2 people every match and let the other 2 live, and then did that 12 times to get through those 2 things. It was not the most fun killer time. Oh, but we did play Lethal Company. I'm about ready to start trying to take on Nutcrackers, but unfortunately, well, Ren said, oh, here's a Nutcracker. Also, here's a ghost girl haunting you. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to try and hunt this Nutcracker. Then Titan's like, there's another Nutcracker. Okay, I need to go down to the ship and grab a shovel. And there's eyeless dogs, and they're on the stairs, and I died. Maybe I'm not ready for Nutcrackers if I'm still dying to eyeless dogs, but I don't know. Sometimes that's Lethal Company where you're like, I just walked very carefully, and they kind of knew, oh, someone's up there, and I'm just going to go up the stairs and get them. It's a bit unfortunate. Oh well. I can't think of anything else to really talk about. Next week I'll also be able to talk about my excitement for the upcoming solar eclipse. Here's hoping. But yeah, I guess that wraps up my anime update. So hope y'all have a nice week.